Reflecting on week 13 and Kunthia's case, um, it is a very a very rich case, and um, there's so much to think about. The first thing that occurs to me is um, grief in general, and grief with refugees in particular, and um, and even more so with the subset of refugees who have experienced um, profound losses and witnessed atrocities. Um, there is no um, there is no getting over um, this kind of grief. Um, and you could argue that there is no getting over grief at all, but that we are able to go on. But when someone has experienced um, this tremendous quantity and pileup of loss and traumatic stress, uh, she will never get over um, or the grief or be able to move on with her life in a way that that grief is not very present for her. So the issue here is coping, and how can she um, maximize um, coping well with the situation that she finds herself in. In your conversation, there were two continuing threads. One had to do with things that professional helpers might provide for her, and the other had to do with community resources. And I want to talk about these two avenues a little bit. In Kunthia's case, as with many people, maybe most of the people across the world, professional helpers are not the helpers of choice and actually may only be the helpers of last resort. I don't think it's coincidental that she has been in therapy for 10 years with someone who comes from another society and may not speak her language and may not share understanding of her experiences. I don't think it's a coincidence that she hasn't made progress. And as you point out, um, standard talk therapy may be pretty ineffective in her case. You came up with lots of creative ideas in addition to standard talk therapy, and um, it was inspiring to see all of the things that you thought of that might be useful to Kunthia. The other thread of community resources and accessing community resources is a very important one for many people who are or will become our clients. Um, it may be better to construct ourselves as um, facilitators rather than professional helpers. It may be that resources that and connections that she can create in her own community are what she really needs for her own healing process. Um, a good place to start as some of you pointed out, would be the minister of the Buddhist church in Oakland. You mentioned that she spends time at the church, and interesting that it's a church rather than a temple. You mentioned that she spends time there, and I'm curious about what she spends time doing. I'm curious about her relationship with the minister and what the minister might know and suggest about um, what she needs and other possible resources for her. Another thing that occurs to me is that it's very important to move beyond thinking of Kunthia only in terms of herself as a consumer of services. Uh, while death and loss has cast a long shadow in her life, she uh, she's here, and she does have much to offer the community. And sharing her strengths with the community in turn may rekindle her sense of um, being entitled to live and wanting to live and being engaged with life. A couple of ideas that occurred to me are, for example, volunteering in schools with Khmer speaking kids, um, or assisting with Khmer speaking elders. There are many such things that she might be involved in, um, that that might engage her with the community and and bring into focus for her her strengths and important roles that she can play in the community. Everyone, no matter their experience, needs to have their gifts recognized and needs opportunities to share those gifts with community. And Kunthia's case is, I think, a wonderful example of that. So thank you for yet another um, excellent discussion. And we're moving on toward the end of the semester.